What's up, everyone? I'm uh I'm gonna get into the habit of streaming again. I want to start making videos for the HEX community with the main focus on HEX. I mean, all RH coins, but I want to focus more on HEX for the most part. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, before I do that, I just want to give a shout out to a Wild SJ as she was so kind to provide a mic for me. So Uh, yeah, shout out to Wild SJ. That was very, very nice of her to do that. Let me see here. So this is my first time using StreamYard, so I'm gonna, you know, hopefully not have any hiccups. So let me share my screen. Okay. Well, this video, I mean, you hear a lot of speculation. Actually, hold on. Okay, never mind. You hear a lot of speculation about what Hex can or can't do. Like you got one side, Hex is going to go to $1 and way above. You got another side that some people don't even think it could hit 10 cents, not more or less, not $1. Well, let's look at the numbers and let's try to see what it actually can or can't do realistically. And we're going to start out by how much Hex is in the liquidity pools, the main liquidity pools. And I'm mainly going to focus on Hex on Pulse Chain. So if you look at it, we have 832 million hex for sale in the PLS V1 liquidity pool. And then we got a little in the V2, 9 million. So what, 9 million plus, so 841 million hex for sale. That's not very much in the grand scheme of things when you also look at it as, you know, people are able to buy it and stake it, right? And as more people fade hex staking, I think that's going to change as the price starts going up. But by then, the T-share rate is going to also be pretty high. I mean, it already is. We're like, if we go down, we're right under 40,000 hex per T-share on Pulse Chain. 39,712. That's crazy. And if you look at it, if we get into June, July, I mean, you're looking at over 44,000 hex per T-share in July, right? So anyone that wants to get those T-shares, especially as the price is moving up, they're going to be paying a lot of money. And here's another bullish thing. When that starts to happen and you see people emergency end stake, the non-believers are going to leave. And it's just going to be left with the people that believe in Hex, that set up their staking ladders, that are going to use it as intended, So is there really that much Hex on the market? Liquidity pools is the more important thing to be looking at, honestly, is buys and sells really are what matter. You've seen just the other week, one of the hugest Hex holders completely exited. It was over months and a few years time, but they're gone. As more people do that, there ain't going to be very many big bag holders. If they get out at certain prices, a lot of people sold Bitcoin at $10. They didn't hold it for 15 years. They didn't see $100,000 Bitcoin because they sold. That's the cool thing about Hex. You can buy, you can stake, you can save yourself from yourself. And not only are you saving yourself from yourself and potentially selling early, you're making that daily yield along the way. So that's just something to think about. Not to mention penalties. You're going to get penalties. It's literally a device for the impatient to pay the patient. That's what the stock market, that's a famous quote from Warren Buffett. Hex literally is designed to do that. And we're sitting at 7.62 hex per T share today, like for the tomorrow's payout. That's crazy. Like, I'm excited to see what type of payouts we get this bull market, and people just can't, hold anymore and they emergency end stake. They take profit, they do what they do. but they're literally paying the patient, and ultimately we're going to win. So can HEX go to $1? Well, just looking off the liquidity pool, 841 million HEX total for sale, as more people buy and stake, that number over time is just going to dwindle down slowly. And that's not counting like if any big entities come in and start drying up the supply themselves. You could get to a scenario where the only HEX for sale is through the yield that people sell, because that's what most of the believers are gonna, that's how they structured their staking ladders. So I wanted to go to Pampy. That's a cool tool that was made from someone in the community. I wanted to play around with it, show you guys what's possible. So let's say ETH it's $10,000. And let's put all his tokens in. That would give the Pulse Chain Reserve $1.7 billion. So if we're to take just 200 million for each token, that's not counting, disclaimer, that's not counting any buys or sells. That's just if this money was to enter. Also, I'd like to talk about the PulseX buy and burn and how this also can fit in the equation. But $200 million into all four core coins, right? A 2-cent Pulse Chain, a $19.44 HEX, a 3-cent PulseX, and almost a $1,900 ink. So, I mean, these coins are very pumpable, extremely pumpable. I laugh when someone says they can't hit $1. $20, okay. I say what you want, but $1, yeah, I think we can. In the conviction that most of you guys have for holding, buying and holding and staking, believing in the product that was created, it's pretty crazy. So what else could play into this on HEX going up? Well, you've seen if you injected that much money into the core tokens, what could happen? Well, let's go to gopulse.com. Let's go down, or right here. Let's go to PulseX. 1.21 trillion tokens have been bought and burned. That's over 6% of the user supply, which hold on. Okay, there we go. $45 million. Okay. Here's something that's cool. That this token is hyper deflationary. It's just going to go down over time, over and over and over and over again. Every swap that happens on Pulse Chain, PulseX is getting bought and burned, right? So let's go back to Pampy. So you see that $45 million, right? Let's change this to PulseX. Now, this ain't this. I'm kind of looking at the buy and burn here over time. As PulseX buy and burns, it gets more rare, right? So I'm pretending this is a buy and burn. Like over a couple year period. Let's say $200 million of PulseX has been bought and burned. This is about any injection of money from people that you may think will come in and buy the token up. So if we calculate PulseX, $200 million just into PulseX would put HEX at 51 cents. So if PulseX is continuing to get bought and burned, what I'm saying is over time, it's going to get more deflationary. The price rise, because you have to remember all these tokens are bonded together through their liquidity. So because they're bonded together through their liquidity, PulseX, the buy and burn, technically could potentially raise the prices of all the other core coins with it. That's why it's so important to understand this dynamic. But then again, well, what if, you know, the what ifs, what if an entity came in and started buying its own tokens? Well, with the buy and burn, and maybe, you know, someone coming in and buying up the token themselves, say $1 billion went into it through the buy and burn and buybacks, you know, what could happen to the other tokens? HEX, $9.41. So you're going to tell me that's with all the money just going into Pulse X, nothing touching HEX, you know, that's with the buy and burn and potentially the Pulse Chain Reserve. That's how they have it labeled here. The Pulse Chain Reserve putting money in, and that still leaves with $700 million in the Pulse Chain Reserve if ETH hit 10,000, which we're going to assume it should. So that would put HEX at $9, and that's without anyone else buying HEX, locking it up, staking it. So for people to sit there and tell you that HEX can't hit $1, I know we've been through a long bear market, but you almost have to think they're full of shit. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think $1 is very plausible. So keep stacking your coins. Don't listen to the haters, the people fudding, the people with 20 followers that will comment on your post that have made 5 posts, which I seem to see those popping up on my posts on X. But don't sit there and believe into the FUD. Keep stacking, keep your head down, stay positive. The SEC dismissal should be happening, I would think, within another week or two. I think we will win that. You know, there's a lot of bullish news in crypto right now with Donald Trump becoming president, digital asset reserve, tons of stuff to look forward to. You know, 2025 is just getting started. The worst has been behind us, and I think we're set up to have an explosive bull run. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, shout out to Wild SJ for, you know, giving me a mic for free. That was pretty cool of her. You can find me on X at Tales from the Crypto 369. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.